Howdy everybody, it's Amy here from Amy's Sparkly Diamond Painting, and as you can probably tell by the package here, I have a product review for you. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. I do a mix of mostly diamond painting, but I also do stamped cross stitch as well as some counted cross stitch from time to time. And I do product reviews from Chinese companies as well as other purchases that I make on my own, including premium companies for diamond paintings and just all sorts of crafty things. So welcome in, and I hope you stay and enjoy what you see. So I have here a product review package that is cross stitch. You can maybe tell by the shape of the package. So this is a cross stitch video. In particular, this is stamped cross stitch, and this comes from a great company that I do love, and I say that without being influenced or anything. I really enjoy VIPCrossstitch, and they sent me this wonderful cross stitch to show for you. But while I was looking around on their website, I saw some other things that were new that I really liked. So I placed an order with them, and they packaged the two of them so that they arrived the same day. So what I thought I'd do is I'm going to do this one mainly as the product review item, but I'm also going to show a couple others here from my order, and I'm going to split that order in two because it was kind of big. So I'm going to show the rest of those at another time. So if you're interested in seeing some stamped cross stitch, then come on in and we'll see what we can do here. So we do have 3 kits. This first one came to me free from them, and I do thank VIPCrossstitch for sending this one to me, but it also tempted me to get some other goodies. So it did come separately packaged. The rest of my order came in this big bubble wrapped envelope because it was full of several cross stitches, but this one by itself came in a separate envelope, and it did come in the thinner plastic, but since it's cross stitch, it's just fine because it's packaged very well and not quite the same as like squishing a diamond painting. So these don't bother me at all for cross stitch. So this arrived actually pretty quick. We're back to, I think, more standard shipping. Here we're past the Christmas holidays. There have been some weather delays in some areas, but this one came in just over 2 weeks because I had also placed another full order that they kind of put together, so it did take a couple days before they shipped it, but once it made its way to me, it was actually pretty quick. So this is a Mona Lisa kit, and again, this is the product review kit that I chose here. I'm going to take the sticker off here so you can see a little bit better. So I do like Mona Lisa kits here, and this is a 9 count. So you can probably already see how big those squares are on this. I've done 9 count from beaded cross stitch, and I ordered another 9 count that was the silky threads that I wasn't quite sure I enjoyed as much. So I wanted to try just a plain old 9 count because I love just sitting and doing some relaxed stitching, and I wanted to see how that came out as a 9 count because I do 11 count for that, but 9 count allows you to use 4 threads, which means you can use 2 folded in half. It's just a little bit easier than trying to do pin stitches and other things to secure your thread. So I can talk about that and show some of that. But in any case, beautiful flowers here. And this is quite a large kit because it is 9 count. It means a lot more thread and a lot bigger size to get that picture to come out. So this is 130 by 72 centimeters. So it is quite heavy. That's probably also why it was in a separate packaging. But we'll take a look here and see what we got. So I like Mona Lisa for relaxed stitching because they do have fewer colors, but the designs are made for fewer colors as opposed to some of the other budget companies that have fewer colors for very complicated designs that don't come out well. This is a different case because Mona Lisa designs are simpler, so they're better for the lower color counts. I'm gonna do some package opening. I was looking for scissors, didn't see them, so we'll just do it this way. So one of the things with Mona Lisa, you will need your own project bag because it comes in this really thin packaging and you really can't save it and put it back in there. So there, now we can see it without the glare and everything. This one is a little bit different. Some of the Mona Lisas come with just a picture without the words around it, and it's a sticker. This one does not. It's just a piece of paper there, but it has more details here about the size and everything on it instead of just having the design sticker on there. So this is a big one. And this is on the colored fabric, which is also interesting. So I'm actually going out of town tomorrow for a really quick trip, and I thought this one might be a good one to take with me, which is why I wanted to get this video done here quickly. So the paper parts of this are on the inside, so I'm gonna have to carefully move the floss and undo this a little bit. There it is. It's folded in there. Okay. So here we do have a pretty large chart here, but what I was looking for is this down here. So this is the colors. We have 23 different DMC colors, and the symbols on the chart match the symbols on the fabric, so you don't have to go back and forth trying to figure out what the symbol is. So the way it's printed on the chart here is the same symbols that are used on the fabric, which is really nice to see. So this chart is split in half here. This side also shows 23 colors there, and also on this side. So the key is on both sides. No back stitch, no French knots, very, very simple stitching with kind of the coloring book style that I've seen with several other Mona Lisas that I like so much, where you do the outlining in a darker color and then fill in with another color. So it makes for very, very easy stitching. And because this is winter, this is a good one because it's so big and thick. And this is really thick. It's like wearing a blanket while you stitch. So we'll first take a look here at the edges of the fabric. I'll pull it out and take a photo and insert it at the end to show you the full thing, because it's not going to fit in this camera view. But it is serged all the way around except for the top edge, because that is the end of the bolt and that is not going to come apart. So you can see the really large numbers also printed with the symbols on what color is what. So if you have any vision issues, which I do from time to time, and you still want to enjoy cross stitch, 9 count like this with Mona Lisa is the way to go. And that's why I really wanted to test out one of these 9 counts, because my vision has been pretty good right now, but it wavers, it comes and goes. And so I want to still be able to enjoy stitching when my eyes are having bad days. So let's start with this beautiful floss. So as you can tell by the color picture here, we've got kind of that brown background. This looks like full coverage. Yes, it is. It is full coverage, but at the same time, you will see some of that fabric showing around the edges, and that background, because this is 9 count, 4 threads should be enough to cover completely, but some of that fabric might show through a little bit after you wash off the ink. So there might just be a little bit of fabric trying to peek through, although four threads should cover pretty well. So having this dark brown fabric as the background instead of a bright white should really help with that. So again, there's a look at the colors, but you can already see big, beautiful, big colors, big, bright colors. How about that? Having trouble getting my thoughts straight tonight. That's almost a neon green there. So that'll really pop against this dark brown fabric. Most of these colors should really pop out against that dark color. So we've got some really nice pink, a lot of bright orange here. Definitely lots of yellow and maroon. This is probably the outlines of several of the flowers here. We got some light pink, some dark green, red, and another light medium pink, and then another dark red. So there are a few different shades here of these darker pink and reds in this. And the way they set this one up, I'm not a big fan of these kind of cards because the thread doesn't stay in there very well. So I will probably put these on some other floss cards that I have. I have plenty, so not a big deal. But what they did here is, instead of giving you extra skeins and putting just one of each color, they have made sure that all of them were cut and prepared. So that's why you see multiple here of the same color. So this is colors 9 through 18 there. So somewhere should be 1 through 8. We'll move these out of the way here. And this floss feels like it's really, really soft. And it is pretty thick here. So here's colors 19 through 23. 22 there's not a whole lot of. That's kind of a peach color. But we've got some pale peach, some darker peach, a couple more pinks there. And then here's the rest of them. Wow, look at that bright green. That is definitely going to pop against these other colors. So we got almost a Christmas look right there. With two different shades of red and that bright green, and then more pinks and a little more of a lime green that's a little more toned down here. So lots and lots of each color, and I'm going to double check. I did not see an instruction sheet with this. But we do have a toolkit that we're going to take a closer look at here, because that looks a little bit different as well for a Mona Lisa kit. Boy, so much floss here. It's very, very heavy, but does feel really soft. And I may have to double check, because usually the 9 count is 4 strands, but I'm looking to make sure that that is correct on here, and I don't see. Sometimes it's printed on the canvas, and you might need Google Translate to see that, or it might be, I know where else it could be, duh. Hello. I'll check very closely on here, because sometimes it's printed on the key here. So we have full cross stitch, DMC symbol, and the floss number, but it does not say on that key. It just says full cross stitch. It looks just like this key here, which also just says full cross stitches, and then lists the DMC, the symbol, and the numbers. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be 4 strands, but I will run Google Translate through some of these notes here at the bottom to make sure that that is indeed the case. We got more notes here on the side. There we go. So those are probably the instructions and the notes. And we do have a picture here that shows 4 strands right there. So even though I can't read the Chinese, I can tell from the picture that indeed it has 4 strands, and it shows you how to use the needle threader right here if you've never used one of those. Shows how the snips work, which we'll look at those in a minute, and it shows the proper way to do cross stitches. So instead of having a separate instruction sheet, they just printed the instructions on the border here. And this looks like probably about 4 centimeters maybe for a border. It is a little bit smaller. That's a trend I've been seeing. Fairy brand cross stitch that I've done a couple reviews have like 4+ inches around the edges. These tend to have about almost 2 inches on US numbers, but it looks like maybe about 4 centimeters of a border. But since it is serged, boy, I wish you could feel how thick this fabric is. It is so thick, which is very good quality. So this will hold up very, very nicely to being held and stitched on for a long time. So let's look at this toolkit, because it does come with snips this time. Here we've got them, and we'll go ahead and open them and take a look. So these are little snips that you pinch and you can hear them. Hopefully. Let me put it by the microphone. So indeed, it sounds like the two ends do meet together well enough. Every once in a while you'll get one that the two ends are bent or spread too far apart to actually cut. So let's give it a shot here. Very easy, yes. These snips do indeed work pretty well. So I just cut that 6 strands of floss. Very easy with those. So those came in the toolkit. That's very nice here. And then we also have several needles. Here looks like a whole bunch of needles, as well as the needle threader. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different needles here. Sometimes they put some more in the fabric. We'll have to double check so that we don't poke ourselves later on. But these are pretty sharp, so you want to be careful with them. But that is our toolkit. So needle threader, needles, and snips. Kind of doing this out of order as I find things, because this is unusual for Mona Lisa kit. I've opened several, but this one slightly different format, maybe because of the larger size and the fact that it's 9 count. So we'll take a close look here at the printing on this canvas. So even though it's printed on this brown background, it's still very easy to read because we're not dealing with that many colors. So we're not dealing with symbols that'll look very much alike, but they also have added the numbers here on the colors over larger areas, so you can definitely tell the difference. So if you do run in a small area where you're really not sure, you can look for that same symbol in a larger area and read the number for it. But this to me looks very easy to read. So what I was talking about, and maybe I'll just go ahead and show you at the end here. So this one in the corner, I can start there, says color number 1. That's an easy place to start. So what I like to do when I'm doing either 2 or in this case 4 threads, I'm going to separate out 2 threads from the 6 here. So this bundle of 6 will give me 3 different strands that I can work from, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out 2 here, and I said this needs 4, so that's okay, because I'm going to take my 2 and I'm going to fold them in half. And now I have a more reasonable length of thread to work with, and I'm going to thread this end into the needle. We can go ahead and just do that right now, because I really am curious about the coverage on a 9 count, which is why I picked a 9 count here. So I'm going to get this out of the way and let's learn together, because this won't take long to just start a thread. So I fold, because 4 strands is going to be a little bit harder to get through that eye of the needle. That's probably why you might need a needle threader and why they give you instructions for that. I take it and I put it around the eye of the needle and fold it in half and pinch it and then turn and push it through the eye. So now we have folded in half. We took 2, folded in half to make 4, and we have this little loop at the end. So this is what makes 4s and 2s or any even number really easy to start, because what you do is you go up and then down, and these holes are going to be, the holes are a little bit smaller, so it's going to take you a few tries to get used to that. But I'm going to go up and then down to make the first diagonal, and I'm going to look on the back here, and as I pull it through, I'm going to wait till I get near the end, and I'm going to catch the loop here with my needle and pull. And now that thread is secure without having to worry about pin stitches or doing anything under other threads. So now we have a nice full stitch with 4 separated and put back together threads, and easy to secure. So I'm going to do 1 row here, and we'll see how 9 count with 4 threads, how the coverage looks. So this is only a short row with only 6 squares here, down here in the corner. So we might as well test it out and see what we think. And then I'll open the other 2 kits that I promised you. So we'll do here 6, and I prefer the stab method. I have tried the sewing method. I'll talk about that again in a second. But the stab method is easier on your floss because the friction isn't as bad when you're pulling straight up and straight down. So I think the floss lasts better and doesn't get all fuzzy and everything. So now we're going to go back the other way. And that is actually very thick coverage with 4 strands there. So I'm going to finish this row and we'll take a look close up. So straight up, straight down in separate motions, and that way your thread isn't dealing with the friction of being up against that Ida cloth at an angle, which can beat up the thread a little bit sooner. But also with it folded in half, you're dealing with shorter lengths. So I think that works better as well. Okay, so there's 1 full row of 4 strands. Of course, that's yellow against the brown background there. But to me, with my eyes, it looks like very good, very thick coverage there. So I think 4 strands will work great. So the other method that I was talking about, let me set it up here. The sewing method is where you go down and then back up in the next hole, all in one motion like this. So you can certainly do that. And going down and then up where you want to come up next like this, but you're pulling diagonal a little bit more rather than straight up and down, so that's why it can beat up the floss or the thread just a little bit. But some people prefer it. They think it's a little bit faster, and 9 count, the bigger the count, the easier it is to do that. I find that trying to do this on smaller count, it's hard to bend down and then kind of move the fabric so that you can get back up. So that is the sewing method. So yeah, it is a little bit faster, but I still prefer the old-fashioned up and down, up and down. So there we go. That's a good start on this one. And I think this will be a nice, relaxing, easy stitch. And on those days when my eyes are not being as cooperative, I can still enjoy a craft, sit on the couch, and work on this. And this is probably just slightly bigger than a diamond painting. So a diamond painting, the squares end up being about 10 squares per inch, and this is 9 squares per inch. So very close to the same scale as a diamond painting. So simple colors, simple stitching, neat little outlining, and beautiful flowers. So thank you to VIP Cross Stitch for this beautiful cross stitch. Now they sell cross stitch, that's why they're called VIP Cross Stitch, as opposed to some of the other companies that mix diamond painting and cross stitch. But I think that their discount codes are much better, and I do have a discount code. I will put it in the comments below. But they've also had really good sales with really good discount codes anyway. So you may or may not want to use mine depending on what sales they have going on. But if you do use my code, it shows that you are watching these videos and it does help my channel. But that's up to you. So we're going to move away from the PR part and look at a couple of the ones that I purchased myself. So we're going to keep with the same theme here, because I saw that one and I picked that for my PR package, but I thought this one had a few more colors and is also a floral, and this is also a 9 count. So the other one was, excuse me, I was looking for actually the stitch count on this one, because this one shows stitch count and this one shows size. So I think this one is smaller, but I was just curious what the stitch count was on this one, because I don't think I told you that, and I'm not sure I found it either. So we can just look, because everything's numbered. So this stitch count looks like 222 up and down, and this one is 248, so maybe it is. This one is going to be more vertical though, and this one is horizontal. And boy, look at how big. It's almost like they made these for people that have vision issues. So The stitch count for the width up here is 418, looks like. So 222 by 418 for the stitch count. This one is 177 by 248, so it is indeed smaller, and that's why the packaging is a little bit smaller, but it looks like it was kind of printed around the same time, and it does look, as you can already tell, a little more complicated. But this is interesting because it does have a snap closure package here as well. So that is definitely resealable, but this is a bit smaller. I still wouldn't try to put it back in there once I'm starting to work on it, because once I unfold this thing, it's going to be very difficult for it to fit back in. So this is another Mona Lisa. It's another case where we don't have the sticker sheet, but we do have the paper here. And it is just plain paper, so you might want to put it in a sheet protector. I suspect that these stitches would take a long time to do, so you might want to protect the picture in some way, or take a picture with your phone and have it stored digitally. So let's take a look at what we have here. The same really cool toolkit with the same snips, the needle threader, and probably about the same. Yeah, it looks like 4 or 5 needles in there. And then we have all our colors here. This looks like very different colors and more of them. And let's see where our chart is hidden. There it is. And this one does have the smaller print on the chart, so hopefully the fabric is printed where you can see it, because this chart, as you can see, is printed much smaller. So for somebody with vision issues, this is going to be a little bit harder to read here. But one thing you will see here is 59 colors. So that's why the fabric looks a lot busier, and there's a lot more going on here, because instead of 23 colors, we have 59 colors. So here's the other side here with numbers 1 through 28. And then this side continues on with 29 through 59. And even though this one has 59 colors, the chart matches the print on here. So you don't have to do any converting back and forth. The symbols on here are the same as what's on the fabric. And this one may be a little bit easier to read symbol-wise. It's a little folded here at the top. That's easy to fix. Because this has the white fabric, it's a little bit easier to see the contrast on those symbols. So they could get away with doing more colors on this white one here. So I'm gonna lay this out and we'll look at the threads. But this looks like the same sort of deal here. We've got the key. On this side, we've got about a 4 centimeter margin on this side. This one has a bigger margin, but that's because we're right near the edge of the bolt there, or the edge of the fabric. So there's a little bit extra on that side. But this is definitely a little bit smaller size, but more colors. And so because of that, they were able to fit the colors on single spots, it looks like. So we have the slightly different floss cards here with 1 color per spot, and there aren't any extra skeins. So everything is kitted up and ready on the floss cards, but boy, that is a lot of floss. It's very soft again, but also very heavy. But a lot more colors here. There is probably the thickest there, that looks like 310 or black, based on being number 7. Yes, that is 310, which is the white or off-white here. It is the black on the color, but on here it's showing as kind of a light yellow. So not a whole lot of black stitching, but I might use an extra strand because I have a ton of black because of other projects that I'm doing. So I do have a huge spool of black DMC. So depending on how the coverage looks, I may add 1 more strand to the black just to make sure that the background is covered very well against that white fabric. There's not a whole lot of the black. So even though they included a lot of black floss there, you'll see the background is really just in little spots here and there. So I think there's more than enough there that I can add just one more strand for the black just to make sure the coverage is good. But here we'll look at the colors. We got greens and purples, lots of purples. And also this one is a little bit more colorful with the yellows and the whites and the oranges there. Lots of blue in this one that the other one didn't have. So that's a first floss card. And this one is colors 33 through 59 here, so you can see very bright, springy colors. And then the white for those white flowers. So we'll take one more look here so you can see where the blues, kind of the purples are in here, and the reds and the pinks. So this one with more colors has a little more detail, but it's a reasonable size, even for a 9 count, as far as the stitch count goes there. And the chart is still easy to read, even though it's got more colors there. So this is probably the biggest area that's kind of busy that I see here. But even then, you can still make out the outlines of all the different flowers. It looks like the petals are still kind of outlined and then filled in. Some of these are a little bit more subtle in the background, but all the main colors seem to have kind of that outline color and then filling in with other colors. So even though it's a lot of colors, I'm not seeing a whole lot of confetti. Maybe down here at the bottom. Even that I don't think looks too busy. I think the busiest part was this top corner with a couple of these smaller flowers there on the edge. So if you are looking for relaxing stitches when maybe your eyes are tired and you're sitting in front of the TV, these 9 count Mona Lisas look very promising. And this is just regular cotton thread. It's not the silky threads. I have a harder time working with those. It's not impossible. It's just takes a little more work. The end result is worth it. But if you don't like working with those silky threads, you can get these 9 count cotton ones there. And I keep hitting the camera because this is so big. So I'm going to fold that one up and keep it separate from the floss from the other one. And we've got one more to look at. And then I'll do the rest in another video. Otherwise, this one will go a bit too long. This is a 14 count, and this is a Yishu brand, I believe. This is a little bit more budget friendly, although these are quite affordable. These are, I'll put the prices and everything down below. Excuse me. The largest one here that I showed you first, the product review package, that one runs about $33 for that huge size. And this one, I'll have to look, but this one isn't nearly that much. And of course, this being a budget friendly is even cheaper. But I like to test these every once in a while because some of the early ones didn't have very many colors. They don't turn out well. This is a much simpler design there. It's again flowers, kind of a theme going on there. But I do like to check them every once in a while. Still getting over my illness. I'll have to edit out some coughing. But I do like to check these budget-friendly ones every once in a while to see if they're getting better with the number of colors and all that good stuff. So these come on that shiny paper, which doesn't tear very easily unless you're really trying, but it's not waterproof. So if you get this wet, the pattern will smear. So you want to be very careful with that. So this one is actually a pretty big size here. I'll get a close-up of the design without the sticker that was covering it. So pretty simple design. I think the simpler designs turn out better for these budget-friendly ones rather than the more complex AI art. So we do have the instructions down here if you need those. Here's our stitch count, 242 by 242. Compare that to this one, which was 177 by 248. So this one actually has a lower stitch count, even though it's bigger, because this one is going to be 14 count, but not that many colors. This one is 40 colors, but I don't think that that's a big deal for this particular particular artwork, just like that Mona Lisa being 23 colors because it's very simple artwork. This is kind of the same deal. I don't think you need that many colors for a simple floral design like that. And the chart is the same as what's printed on the fabric. So we will fold this up and take a look at the rest. So we do have our fabric here, and already I can see an improvement in the printing just looking at that. And I'm trying to figure out which brand. I'll have to look and put it in the links below. But we do have a toolkit here, which has the needle threader, a little thimble. I need to think of some other uses for those because I don't really use them. But we do have the tube of needles, which I do like these. And because this is 14 count, we're going to have smaller needles. So I do preferably, I do prefer the smaller needles even on 11 count. 9 count, trying to fit 4 threads in a needle, I'll use the ones that came with that kit. But for this one, the needles are smaller because the fabric is smaller and tighter and a little bit harder to push the needle through if it's too big. So we'll take a look here at what we have. What I was talking about is the early versions of these budget friendlies were very saturated in the red colors, lots and lots of red colors, and a bit harder to read. But it looks like they've improved the printing. So it's a lot of the same symbols, but they're not quite as dark. And so it's a little bit easier on your eyes, but it seems like it's a little bit easier to read those symbols on the canvas as well, which is nice. So this is 50 by 50 for the size there, and 242 by 242 stitches. And I can make out and see the various flowers here. It's not quite the coloring book style like the others with the outline and then filling in. This one's a little bit busier, but not that bad. So if you look at it here, you can still do what we call cross country, where you take a color and use it until it's used up and then move on to the next color. The only places where you might have a little bit more confetti, where the stitches are a little more scattered for the same color, are a few of these smaller flowers there. But even then, that's not too bad. Sometimes when you get the AI art on these that's a really complicated design, it's a lot of confetti and a little bit harder to work with. But this looks pretty simple here. I'm quite happy with it. I'm really happy to see that the printing is much clearer than what I had seen in the past with some of these. So I do like to check and see the improvements on these, and I am quite happy with this one. So here's our floss. You can see all the different colors here. I will go ahead and open this. This is in floss drops, as is typical with these. So we'll take a look if you haven't seen floss drops before. They come with a binder holding them together, which makes it a little bit easier. So before you undo the binder, you might want to get a ring, like a notebook ring, and put them all on that ring to hold them together. But this is what a floss drop looks like. So it has a DMC number on there, and they are just slid in to that. So you have multiples because each one probably holds a skein or two of floss there. So you'll have multiple of each color if you need more than one color or more than one skein. So like this one, they're all together, not even punched out separately. So we have lots of blues and some dark turquoisey green blues. We got pinks, red. I'm gonna be thinking flowers tonight when I try to go to sleep. So there's more blues. There's a gold snuck in there that it was trying to hide. And our various shades of green. Really, really pretty dark royal blue there. More blues there. And then the brighter yellows and oranges, and then the really light bright green. There's that lime green again that I like. So here's some pinks, some purples of various shades, a little bit of a kind of grayish brown. Not a whole lot of brown in this, so there's kind of an olive green and that grayish brown, but that's about it other than purples and golds. There's another one that's kind of brownish, but it's only like 4 strands of floss there, so not very many. And then 939. That's a kind of an odd looking shade for 939 actually. It's almost got more of a purplish. That's interesting because 939 is typically a very dark blue, but that's taking on a little bit of a purple tint there. Interesting. And then a red and an orange, so no browns or anything. It's all very bright, happy colors in this one. And I'm going to put it together here later after I finish this video. I won't try to do that right now. So the way you would do a 14 count is also 2 strands, which if you're not sure, it is in the instructions here that come with the chart. So 14 count 2 strands, 11 count 3 strands, 9 count 4 strands. But you can do the same sort of thing here as I showed you with the 9 count. You take 1 strand out and fold it in half and put the needle on and then catch the loop. So that's why 14 count is really easy to start and stop, as well as this 9 count for 4 strands. So that's what I have for you on this one. Thank you to VIP Stitch for sharing with me the product review package, as well as the other items that I purchased myself here. I will continue to buy from them because I do like their prices. I like their fast shipping. I like the way they package things, and they've just been really responsive to me. I haven't run into any issues with contacting their customer service. They're very friendly, easy to work with. I do really enjoy VIP Cross Stitch when I'm looking for more stamped cross stitch kits. So thanks again to VIP Cross Stitch. Check out the links below if you want to look at any of these items or other ones. Check out my discount code or other discount codes that they have and sales going on their website. I think they also offer blind boxes from time to time, which are mystery gifts that you can get. And I'm going to sort of try to corral those and get this one put away here. I can bring back out the other 2 here. So again, we have this one, 9 count, Mona Lisa, and then the big one here that I've already put a start in now, which is the right chart with the right kit there. The beautiful, huge flowers here. I'm really looking forward to working on this one. I think it'll be so easy and relaxing to work on with just about anywhere. So the other half of my order is Joy Sunday kits. So I will be doing those in a separate video in the future. So I thank you for watching and appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you next time.